British citizen Andrew Wynne has reacted to the allegation made against him by the Nigeria police force that he plotted during the End Bad Governance protest to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying, "Protest is not a treasonable act, hence the government should set free all the 10 protesters whom some of them were arraigned before Federal High Court sitting in Abuja for terrorism and treasonable felony on Monday." According to the letter, as reported by Sahara Reporters, the Briton who was accused of inciting insurrection against President Bola Tinubu's government urged the Nigerian government not to treat protests as treason. Andrew's bookshop, located at the Abuja headquarters of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), was previously raided and sealed. Sahara Reporters added that part of the bogus charges against him involved enabling some End Bad Governance protesters with intent to destabilize Nigeria. In a statement on the letterhead of his bookshop, Povey wrote, "Protest is not treason, release all the detainees." The mass protests over End Bad Governance and end hunger frightened the government. But rather than addressing the people's demands, the government turned to repression. Povey further stated, "Perhaps 40 people were murdered by the police and other security forces, thousands were arrested and many still remain in captivity." In Abuja, the authorities have attacked the so-called leaders and organizers of the protests. 10 people face ridiculous charges including treason, mutiny and levying war against the state. The NLC promised a general strike to protect its president, Joe Ajaero, from arrest and detention in relation to similar charges. Despite the flimsy nature of the evidence against the detainees, they face long years in prison unless the trade union movement is prepared to protect them. On the 7th of August, the NLC said it condemns in the strongest terms the human rights violations perpetrated by security forces against peaceful protesters. The first person to be arrested in this case was Eliojo Opalua. He is a former colleague of Joe Ajaero, working for NUEE, the Electricians Union, as an organizer in Abuja. He is also the vice chair of the NLC in Kogi State. He has now been detained for over 4 weeks with no tangible evidence. His family was told that he had received a WhatsApp message from one of the other alleged leaders. This was after Eliojo had actually been detained. The 10 detainees have been accused of conspiracy to commit a range of serious crimes. However, they barely know each other. 5 of them may have been members of a WhatsApp group set up to organize the protests in Abuja. But the other 5 are unknown to these comrades. There may be a few of the flag-waving protesters from Kano who were added to extend the range of the organizers to cover the main protests from Sokoto to Maiduguri. There appears to be a conflict between the government and the police investigating this case. The head of the Intelligence Response Team, Ayati, told the detainees' lawyers that he would have released them, but that he had orders from above not to set them free. So the police have developed what appears to be a ridiculous case involving the owner of Iva Valley Books. They are claiming that he goes under the name of Andrew Povich, a Russian-sounding name, and that he has now left Nigeria for Russia. Neither of these claims are true. Yomi, who works for Iva Valley Books, has, like the other detainees, been treated in a terribly inhumane manner. He was arrested in front of his wife and 3-year-old daughter. All their phones were confiscated by the police. This was despite appeals from his wife that they needed a phone to get money for food. He was then imprisoned illegally and held in chains, beaten, and tortured for 3 days. His only involvement was to design flyers for the protests on the instructions of his boss. The NLC has shown that it has the power to protect its president. It now needs to extend this action to protect its other officers, its members, and the general public. We had reported that the Nigerian government, through the Office of the Inspector General of Police, IGP, has alleged that one British national, Andrew Wynne, made attempt to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu following the investigation of some senior staff of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC. Nigeria Police Force on Monday declared the British national identified as Andrew Wynne aka Andrew Povich or Drew Povey, wanted for allegedly plotting to overthrow the President Bola Tinubu-led government. The force public relations officer, ACP Muyiwa Adejobi, in a statement said, following extensive intelligence gathering and collaboration with other security agencies, 9 suspects have been apprehended, who received substantial financial backing from foreign sources to destabilize the country. Preliminary findings suggest they orchestrated and funded violent protests, disseminated false information, and engaged in other unlawful activities to create anarchy and justify their illegal plot to overthrow the democratically elected government. Investigations have identified a foreign mercenary, Andrew Wynne, also known as Andrew Povich or Drew Povey, a British national, who built a network of sleeper cells to topple the government and plunge the nation into chaos. He rented a space at Labour House, Abuja, for an Iver Valley bookshop, and established Stars of Nations schools as a cover for his subversive activities. Documentary evidence and confessions revealed that Andrew Wynne issued directives, monitored progress, and provided finance and operational guidance to achieve unconstitutional regime change in Nigeria. He mobilized and deployed several billions of naira to his Nigerian collaborators, urging them to mobilize the public to violently storm police facilities and military barracks, anticipating a bloodbath that would instigate international condemnation of the Nigerian government. The police also said the investigation of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has revealed the level of involvement of the foreigner, as the NLC did not even know the real identity of the person also alleged to be as a foreign mercenary occupying their building. Force Public Relations Officer ACP Muyiwa Adejobi, while briefing journalists in Abuja on Monday, said Andrew built a network of sleeper cells to topple the government and plunge the nation into chaos. Similarly, the police declared Lucky Ihis Obion, who is alleged to be a local coordinator for Andrew, wanted, adding that global hunting for them has commenced in connection with the investigation. According to him, documentary evidence and confessions revealed that Andrew Wynne issued directives, monitored progress, and provided finance and operational guidance to achieve unconstitutional regime change in Nigeria. Since the commencement of investigations, Andrew Wynne has fled the country. He and one of his local coordinators, one Lucky Ihis Obion, have accordingly been declared wanted, and global hunting for them has commenced in connection with this investigation.
OsazuwaAkonedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way.